Hi, welcome to Tool versus Tool, part of the portfolio brought on by Startup Show San Diego. And it really comes from this idea of two gentlemen, Chris and Randy Gerson, who at least once a month in several locations teach marketing for free to entrepreneurs in the startup community. It's always direct marketing. How do you spend $1 and get more than $1 back? So customers and sales. Plenty experience doing that for big companies, small companies, their own companies, startup companies. But one of the problems on the Marketing Mondays at EvoNexus in Southern California is that they're so busy trying to get an hour of packed information on sales and marketing techniques, they don't really have time to dig into the tools. So what we do is we feature tools that are usually free or inexpensive, and we cut right to the chase to say, here's when you need them, here's what you do with them. So I'll turn that over to you guys, Chris and Randy Gerson. What do we got today?
So today we're talking about content curation. First of all, can you hear me okay?
I can hear you great.
Okay, good. So on content curation, so people tell us all the time that they struggle finding great content to post on Facebook or LinkedIn or wherever. And that's kind of hard to believe considering how much content is currently out there. I think the issue is finding a great place to easily find content to share. You don't have to write your own content. You just find something else somebody else has already done and then share it with your followers. So, you know, and we understand that the issue, you're looking for content, you know, to post every single day, maybe even twice a day, which means that you're trying to find content for over 600 posts a year. That sounds like a lot. Well, there's specifically two tools that we're going to talk about today. One is the most commonly used news app, which is FlipBoard. FlipBoard is currently used by over 50 million people. And I'll show you how you can use that to share content. And the other one is BuzzSumo. BuzzSumo happens to be the most recognized and popular content curation tool. There is a cost to that one. It's around $80 a month, up to $600 a month. But when you consider what you can do for only $80 a month, you'll be amazed. HubSpot, Rolling Stone, and other content companies use BuzzSumo, so it's very well used and it's a great tool. So let's just go ahead and hop in and show you the two tools. First of all, let me go ahead and take.
While you're doing that, Chris, let me kind of pipe in a little bit and share a little bit about FlipBoard with everybody. Those of you that have iPhones may not know this, but the Droid software for all the different Droid phones, FlipBoard is an auto app that is automatically on the phones, and you can't even delete it. It's really hard to get rid of. And so they built FlipBoard in as the major content news source on the Android platform, which is the biggest platform of mobile phones out there. And so that's a good thing for all of you to know. FlipBoard, when Chris is mentioning BuzzSumo, which is used by a lot of channels, but FlipBoard actually has a great built-in user source. So everybody with an Android phone has FlipBoard on it. And it doesn't matter where and they go all the way back to, the Galaxy, Samsung 3 even had FlipBoard on them. That's how far back in legacy that software goes. Yeah. And so I just kind of turn that back over to Chris. But Chris, I thought that'd be good to mention so they understand how that's preloaded on the phones. It's a good thing to know.
So yes, absolutely. And if you are already using FlipBoard, let me show you how easy this is. So let's say you can see my screen right now. You're seeing the NBA must really think the Warriors are unstoppable, right? And you're flipping through. Now I'm looking at FlipBoard on a desktop. It's even easier on a phone or a tablet. Let's say you see this Twitter co-founder is amongst the latest major donors to the Obama. Let's say you want to share, you love that article and you want to share it. All you do is click on this little button that says share. People don't realize you can share it with friends, sure. But if you click on your little Facebook logo, now all of a sudden you're sharing some content to your entire Facebook audience, okay? Now, you probably always seen that. You probably always noticed it. No big deal, right? But here's the issue. Let's say you're standing in line at the DMV to try to get something done. That's your time to be posting content. All you do is log on to Flipboard, flip through, find a good article, click on share. Let's say you're lounging what do you call it? Just sitting on the couch at home. You should be sharing content. Let's say you're in traffic and you're stopped. Share content. It's that easy. Okay. So it's hard to say that you can't find good content. Whenever you read good content, you could be sharing it. And it's that easy with Flipboard. Now, you could see here in Flipboard how you share. You can only share with Facebook or Twitter. Now, on your phone, when you share, you can share to any and all social networks. So you can program it in to share with your LinkedIn or whatever. And I would highly recommend, if you're targeting a B2B audience, share to LinkedIn. You'll be amazed at the kind of traction you can get in there, because not very many companies are sharing to their LinkedIn profile. Okay, so that's number one. Once again, it's easy to do. Why not do it, right? And it's free. BuzzSumo is more of a traditional content curation tool. So this allows you to find what's popular, okay? And find out what people are really intrigued about. So you're looking at my BuzzSumo page right here. You can simply enter in a topic. Let's just enter in this topic startups right here. Boom, you enter in startups. It's going to do a search. You can see over here, it's going to look for any topics about startups in Facebook, LinkedIn, Twitter, Pinterest, Google+, or more. And it's going to find the most popular, meaning the most shared content with the word startup in it. Here, it says, want to raise successful daughters? Science says nag the heck out of them. That was the most shared article with almost 1 million shares, which, by the way, is a lot, with 3.3 thousand shares on LinkedIn, right? Bill Gates, Warren Buffett, and Oprah Winfrey all use this 5-hour rule. 125,000 shares on Facebook. Okay. Now there's a little bit more. You can see who's backlink, but you can also view who's sharing. Watch this. First of all, you can just click on the button and share that content, or you can see who is sharing that content. What this does is this may identify other influencers. You may say, oh, look at this person. He has a page authority of 24. So you can look at domain authority, page authority, and followers to find out who's the most popular person that shared that content, and then you can save them to your list. So this is not, BuzzSumo is no longer just a way to find content, but it can find popular people that share that content so that you can identify them as influencers and reach out to them. Very interesting, right? You can follow them, you can save them, you can share with them, you can see who's shared with them, the whole bit. Okay. You'll notice, oops, I just did something. You'll notice on the right also, you can take a look at the kind of influencer they are. I'm going back here. 1 second. Let's see. You can see if they're a blogger, influencer, if they're a company, a journalist, or just a regular person, and you can sort by them. Let's say you're looking for a journalist. Simply get rid of these boxes, and now you're looking at which journalist shared this content. It's kind of an interesting tool. Now, you just saw just a little bit of the power of what this tool can do by just me, doing it in front of you. I'll tell you what, you could spend an hour and a half in here and learn about all different ways you can use this information, right? They also have something new. It's called this monitoring tool. So I'm going to go ahead and click on this. What this does, this is so fascinating. What this does is tell you how your company, how many people have mentioned your company, and compare your company to your competitor. So my company has 2 shares. Thrive Market has 380 shares, right? So it's an interesting to monitor how many people are mentioning you and your product and who is doing it. There is another tool in here that is really good. Let's see if I can't find it. 1 second. Trending now. Okay. So this tool is an interesting content curation tool because what it does is it will tell you what is currently getting shared at a high rate at the moment. Okay. So this says in the last 24 hours, this is what's getting shared. This is the important one. This one right here, it says the last 1 hour. The concept is if you knew that something was starting to get shared at a very high rate within the last hour, if you were to share that with, right away, and people liked and shared your content from what you shared, and I know it's a share of a share of a share, but if people liked and commented on your post quickly, because you're on top of it news, you will get a high engagement rate. Facebook will like you and therefore start serving your post more often. I know that's kind of a long way to say it, but if you are on top of the news, Facebook likes you. So this tells you what's trending at the moment, which is kind of interesting. So this is what's getting the most shares within the last 1 hour around the world, around the United States, I should say. You can, I guess it is around the world. You can change how you want to see this.
Yeah, Chris, I think a good ad for this to share with people for a startup what this does is this helps build not only your credibility index. People do look at your credibility as a startup, especially when you're new. And as Chris mentioned, the sooner you jump on something that's trending and it's coming from you versus from other people, it does build you that relevancy. And also, too, you can actually take articles in here. And you think of it this way, if there are articles and things to share that are really relevant to your business model and things that you're doing, you can add a comment in there to how the relevancy is and get people thinking that way. So it really builds up that relevancy, that frequency, and that credibility for your product or service that you're doing. And so that's why BuzzSumo really is a great tool for that. And this also gets that content out quickly, like Chris said, when you get on top of it. And BuzzSumo makes it really easy to do that.
Yep, you got it.
Now, both these tools look like they would be easy to outsource to somebody else on your team or even somebody else to post for you.
Absolutely.
Yeah, you could get somebody like on Upworks. We've shown that tool before, or get somebody that it's close to you, or even a family member if you're a really small startup, to actually do this on a daily basis, and it would be very inexpensive to maintain. It's these kind of tools that weren't available years ago. This was very difficult, but now this makes it very quick and easy to do that.
Yeah. There's more that these tools can do. I just wanted to show you just a little bit here. Also, with BuzzSumo, you can get a free trial. It's not a day trial. It's not a month trial. It's a use trial. So you get, I think, 30 searches for free. So you can log in and do some basic searches, just like what I'm doing here, and see if you like it before starting to purchase. It's a pretty good tool. So therefore, I've got these 2 tools. One is FlipBoard, which I think is the easiest free no-brainer tool to use to find good content. If you like it, like the content, share. People love it. And this one, which is more in-depth, which is a content curation popularity tool, as well as an influencer research tool.
Yeah, and I would agree with that, Chris. I would say on the Flipboard side, again, to keep in mind is it's a very heavy Android use tool, even though it is available on the iPhone. But you have a built-in base of people that automatically are getting that app on their phone. And actually, I just want to mention again on the Android phone, it's on one of the home pages. Those of you familiar with your Android. So when you get the default home pages, Flipboard actually is the news feed directly on your phone when you buy a new phone. And they've continued this, like I said, from the 3 all the way up even to the new 8 that's launching. FlipBoard is the de facto newsfeed. So for B2B users, which is a big database of Android phones, this will get you that feed right away. So I agree with Chris. It's the easiest and simplest way to get started on your own without having to spend a lot of money on staff to do it.
Right.
So FlipBoard, a mobile phone, really good. Desktop, okay. BuzzSumo, is that just desktop?
It's just desktop.
Yeah. So that's like what Chris and I were saying. So if it's mobile and you're like a small startup and you're really like, so let's say you're past the, you're at the idea stage or a little past there, and you're trying to get your company together and maybe get it into an incubator. Flipboard's a really easy software, very inexpensive and quick way to get that up and going. But once you start looking at where your users are and you start building more desktop users as you grow your company, then BuzzSumo is a way. Especially, it's worth paying for BuzzSumo after you try it. Because like Chris said, you get like 30 uses. You could try it once a day and see how it works for you. And that will give you almost a 30-day trial right there. And then you could light that up if you have enough desktop users to use BuzzSumo. And using them both in conjunction will get you your mobile users and your desktop users to keep the content. And you can use content across both platforms. That's the other thing that's nice to know.
So if you're a startup company, when's the time to start posting? And when would you start with FlipBoard and when would you go with BuzzSumo?
Chris, you want to pipe in?
Yeah, so first of all, when to start posting? Before you have launched. You don't even have to have a product or a service yet. So at One Stop Paleo Shop, we had over 75,000 followers on Facebook before we had any products to sell. And we didn't write any of our own content. We simply shared other content that was currently out there. So we had a base of possibly people that were interested in our product before we officially launched. So using FlipBoard, you can do it pre-launch. BuzzSumo is, a little bit later down the road. After you've launched, after you already have a base and you really want to start building out your content and building out your influencer network.
Yeah, let me give another slant on that, Chris, to kind of add on to what you were saying and give it to you from a perspective of you're in ideation. So you've got an idea about a company. This is a great way to do a dry test to really see, are people really interested in your idea before you start sinking a lot of dollars into really starting a company. Because let's face it, there's tons of ideas out there. Chris and I always have an adage, the great ones work and the ones that don't work aren't so great. And Chris and I have both had lots of ideas over our career and heard lots of ideas. And it's a very small percentage of how many of those ideas actually turned out to be great ideas. And so FlipBoard's a great way to test out ideas and see how much interest you can drive to even say, am I really onto something? So I call it kind of a great way on mobile to get a quick dry test to see what's happening. And also to maybe flesh your idea out on different angles, because you can take a single idea and look at different ways of presenting it to see, and that might help you before you even start the company as well. And that will help you with your startup. So anyway, that's just an extra take on that.
And the idea is you need to build the audience before you need it.
Correct.
Because if you need the audience tomorrow, probably not going to happen.
Yeah, right. Well, it's kind of like the old adage of brick and mortar. You think, for those of us that remember when there was only brick and mortar, there was no internet. Restaurant. My favorite thing about restaurant marketing was there's 3 things to remember in a restaurant that you got to get right. It's location, location, location. And what that means is there's already a built-in audience in that area before you open that restaurant. This is almost the same aspect. You're building an audience or seeing if there's an audience before you open your location, whether it's online or offline. So it's just a great way with new tools to take an old adage that feels true for an industry that makes or breaks a location. And this way is a great way for you to get that out. And so for startups, FlipBoard's awesome. And I love the fact that it is preloaded. I didn't even realize that till I got my first Android when I switched over from the old BlackBerry phones. And we all remember that and went like, what is this thing? And started realizing it's a built-in source for startups to use as a tool. So it's pretty exciting. Anything to add to that, Chris?
No, that's it.
Yeah. So anyway, this, great having you guys all here. We really wanted to show these 2 tools. I would encourage you to play around with both. It's not going to cost you anything. and to know that these are two things, ways to get your company really going and really build your audience, as Eric said, before you really even launch anything. And if you haven't done it already, you already have a company, this is a great way to build more engagement for your company and be a top influencer in the area by jumping on topics that fit what you want to do, as well as posting your own content.
Great. So if you like free marketing training and often free pizza and free parking, don't miss Chris and Randy on at EvoNexus in San Diego and Irvine. I think you can find them up on the Divine meetups on meetup.com and on the EvoNexus.org websites. You want to see past Tool versus Tool, I think this is episode 6. They're on our homepage, startupshowsd.com, on our YouTube channel, Startup Show San Diego, all one word. And if you look at the Startup Show SD, they're now dropping on podcasts, so you can even see a video podcast on Tool versus Tool. So also want to point out we've got a capturing your customers with your video vision workshop. It's a hands-on workshop, green pen and paper. That's also at the same building as EvoNexus, downtown, the Vine, 8th floor conference room. So if we're not doing a Tool versus Tool, we're doing a hands-on workshop. So Randy and Chris, thank you, and thank you for watching.
Yeah, thank you guys. See everybody later. Have a great marketing week.